Welcome to the Desert Dream Sessions. Today we have Luxtides with us. Thank you so much for being a part of my EP. I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are.
Amazing. It's so good to see you, by the way, and so excited about our song and your EP. Congratulations. I am Luxtides. I'm an artist and a songwriter. I live in Brooklyn, and more recently in the last few years, I've found myself in the electronic scene, and I'm having a blast with it.
Amazing, because you were in a touring group before that was a completely different genre, right?
Yeah, my background is I was in a folk pop duo. It was kind of like a whirlwind, I guess. I kind of joined right after college, and we ended up getting signed really quickly to a major label, and we were on tour for years, doing touring with incredible artists like the Fray and Ingrid Michaelson, and did a lot of cool things in a short amount of time. And when that ended, I was like, oh my God, what do I do now? Who am I? It was really difficult for me. But a couple of years later, I ended up rebranding my solo stuff as Luxtides, and that's kind of been my journey since that point. So yeah, I've kind of been all over the map, in terms of genres, but right now I'm rocking it in electronic music and I'm having fun, so. Yeah.
I didn't know you toured with Ingrid Michaelson.
Oh my gosh, it was so crazy. The last night of her tour, she had everyone come out on stage, and I forget what song it was, but we sang a song with her, and there was one part where I was next to her and she held the mic out to me, and we sang into the mic together. I was like, my 16-year-old self is my brain would have exploded. It was so cool.
It wasn't that song?
No, I honestly, oh my gosh, I can't remember what it was, but it was such a cool moment.
I saw her in Boston. I'm like, did I see you perform? I don't know.
So funny. This would have been I think it was 2015.
No, that was before that. Oh, crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, just a crazy time in my life. Yeah, but it was fun. Touring is it's hard, especially when you're the only girl. But it was a time, it was a chapter, and I'm super, super thankful for it.
This is actually one of my questions, and jump ahead to it. What made you fall in love with this genre now, and what was the first song you remember hearing from this genre?
Wow. So I think what I've fallen in love with now, and I've said this a lot, but I love that most of the sessions that I'm doing now are with other women. Whereas that wasn't the case for me before, when I was more so in the alt pop world. I feel I was working with a lot of men generally. I feel the majority of my sessions now are with other female top liners, and it's incredible to connect with so many talented and kind, just amazing women. And I'm really loving that about it. I feel it's also a very supportive community, which has been really cool. Everybody's welcoming. I was thinking when I first kind of found myself here, I was like, oh God, people are gonna think I'm I don't know, that I don't belong here, because it's not my background, and I'm coming from this whole other side of music. But I feel everybody that I've met has been just so everybody wants to help you, everybody wants to work together. It's just really collaborative and supportive, and that's been awesome. Trying to think about the first song. I don't know about the first song I heard, but I feel Wake Me Up by Avicii, just such an incredible song that, when I first heard it years ago, I was like, whoa, this is so cool and so different too, because it's blending folk music with electronic and a little soul. And yeah, I think it speaks to it's just cool how many directions to this scene of music can take. It can be dark, it can be fun, it can be sexy, it can be so many things. And that's what's really fun about it.
Oh, Wake Me Up. I have a trance cover of that song with Marlo and Triode that we've performed at the Bank of California and EDC, but it hasn't been released yet.
How cool.
Just a live track. I don't know, honestly, probably clearing it will be maybe a little difficult, but.
Yeah, I know, right? Always a struggle, but oh my God, can't wait to hear that.
All right, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. What are 3 words to describe yourself?
Oh my gosh.
Could be today.
So hard. Did you say could be today?
Yeah, I feel that's too big of a question.
Okay, yeah, today feeling a little chaotic, I mean, always. I would say driven, goofy.
Love it. Love it. What is your go-to coffee order?
Oh my gosh. So I'm like a cold brew fiend. I buy like, like the big bottles that you can get at the grocery store. But there's a grocery store near me in Brooklyn and they'll go on sale like occasionally. And then I will buy like 6 or 7 at a time. I'm like stockpiling them in the fridge. But right now, this one's the Califia medium roast. And I always do it with oat milk and I make like my own brown sugar syrup. So that's usually my favorite. And I think, yeah, like when I go out for coffee, that's usually what I'm getting. Although I also love pumpkin syrup. Like I'm a really basic for fall. like literally, I think they rolled it out last year, like August. It gets earlier every year. It was like August 30th. And I was like, oh, I was at Starbucks.
Amazing. What TV show are you watching right now?
Currently watching Outer Banks with my boyfriend. Have you ever seen it?
NC, North Carolina.
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah. It's so funny, like, cause it's so cheesy, but it's also so good. Like the story, I feel like it just gets more and more ridiculous every season. But like, I don't know, all the actors are really good in it. I'm hooked.
You're on season 3?
Yeah, the new one.
I've been watching The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, that one too.
So how did you get started in music? At what age did you decide that, this was the thing for you?
So I actually started it in theater, like when I was in elementary school, and I always was like such a little like ham, I guess. And then I guess like in middle school, I started doing musicals, but it's funny because I never had a lot of confidence in my singing voice. I always felt like I was an actor who sang, but my mom growing up was an English teacher. And so I always had this love of writing, like poetry. And I thought the idea of like blending, like performance and writing was really cool. So I started writing songs. And then in high school, like I was super into like, the Warped Tour scene, especially where I was from in upstate New York. Like that was a really big thing. So I would be going out to shows all the time. And then I learned how to record myself. Do you remember Audacity? Did you ever use that program? It was a DAW.
Okay, no, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, so I would record on Audacity, like put songs up on like my MySpace page. But I was also always doing theater like at the same time. And so I pretty much knew that I wanted to end up in New York City. Like that was always my goal. So for college, I only applied to a few colleges and I ended up just applying on the acting side. So I had to audition and stuff. And I was accepted to Pace University in Manhattan. And so went there for school, but was like still pursuing music at the same time. And then when I graduated, I always said I was like, wherever the opportunity is, like whether it's acting or music or musical, like whatever it is, I'm gonna take that opportunity. And so shortly after graduating was when I met my old bandmate in Oh Honey. And I was like, this is cool. Like these songs are amazing. I think this is gonna be something. So I just kind of went with it.
Oh, that's so cool. Have we talked about how, I went to a BFA program and I had to do the whole like audition thing.
Yeah. Okay. Where did you go? I didn't know that.
I went to Emerson. And
my cousin went there. I actually auditioned there too.
I auditioned early auction. I got in, there were like 25 of us and I did a year and a half and then I left so I could do classes at Berkeley and kind of make my own major because it was limiting being in the BFA. I couldn't spend my last semester in Los Angeles. I couldn't take the Pro Arts Consortium classes and stuff.
Musical theater.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing.
I loved singing, acting, and dancing, but I felt like I was learning to be a caricature of a person and I wasn't feeling inspired. Well, also I wanted to sing the like new pop rock stuff and like and they're like, no, we're going back to the like, if I were a bell, I'd be ringing. And I'm like, I'm not inspired by this content right now. I'd rather be exploring creating something new with my own words, like you were just saying with poetry. And I was like, I kind of like chased acting a little tiny bit when I moved to LA, but I was just, so much of it was not anything to do with me. Like decisions were being made about something completely outside of, I was too tall, I was too short. Like And whereas with music, we get to write our own story.
Yeah, 1,000%. And like also, I mean, music is really hard, but there's something about the audition process when you're like in the room of casting directors and you can like see on their face that they hate you. Like that was always so hard for me because I'm a super anxious person. I've always struggled with like major confidence issues. So that was like just one thing that would always just crush me. Yeah, I agree. Like I like being in control of like writing my own songs and making my own work versus like being kind of more so at the mercy of someone else's.
Yeah. Have you, because if you went to school for that in New York, did you continue auditioning for theater or film and TV there?
No, not well, a little bit, I guess. So Pace let us audition a little bit like while we were at school, which some BFA programs wouldn't let you do that. So I was auditioning for student films. I did like extra work on a few like sets, you know, but mostly I was focused on doing the plays at Pace. And I was just a straight acting major, not musical theater, because I am like the worst dancer in the entire world. And it was just never, because people are always like, why didn't you do musical theater? Like you love to sing and act. I can't.
That's not true.
No, oh my God, I can't even explain to you. I'm like, I would be at like the dance calls like in high school and I would just like lose my shit. I was like, I'm so bad. I need to quit. What am I doing? Like, it just so, yeah, just, not for me. So that's why I went the straight acting route. But yeah, I guess I joined Oh Honey, like not, it was really only like a few months after I had graduated. And so that just kind of, I just shifted, like I poured my whole self into that.
Are your parents musical?
No, they're not. But my mom was the English teacher. So me and my sister get that love of writing from her. My sister's also an English teacher now. So I think it's like in us. My mom is actually a great dancer. So funny, but neither of my parents are musical now.
What kind of music did they listen to when you were growing up?
But grew up on a lot of Fleetwood Mac. Like, just Stevie is like she's so incredible. My dad definitely listened to a lot of like Metallica and AC/DC. I know, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I guess kind of a variety, but they also listened to like current stuff at the time. So I think like in high school and like earlier, I was also listening to, like I said before, like a lot of the Warped Tour bands and like Blink-182 I fell in love with. And then of course Ingrid Michaelson, who I later ended up meeting, which was so cool, and Sarah Bareilles, and yeah, so a pretty good variety.
Very cool. What is the weirdest job you've ever had outside of music?
Weirdest job? That's such a good question. I don't know if I have a particularly weird job, but I will say in high school, I worked at the like local cafe in town. And when I was working there, I realized that it was like a meeting place for like the local cult that is now like known nationally. They were called Nexium, and they would have a lot of their meetings at the cafe, and I would be like making them coffee and stuff, and they would like go in the back room with the door closed, and I was like, what is going on in there? Yeah, that I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they
but I'm gonna look it up now.
Yeah, there's a couple documentaries on them. But yeah, they used to hang out there. That was super weird. And so I ended up watching one of the documentaries like recently, and I was like, oh, I know him and I know her. And I was like, where am I? Like small town in upstate New York. But I feel like of course that's where a cult's gonna operate out of, right? It's like,
of course, right.
Where nothing's going on. So
I just thought of a new question just for you. I'm gonna write it down. Don't forget it. Okay. What is the coolest place that music has ever brought you?
I love this question. The coolest place. Okay, I ended up playing at Red Rocks, which I know you did too. And it's just so freaking incredible, like just ultimate goals. Yeah, that was opening for the Fray, and Denver is their hometown, so it was like totally sold out, like just such an epic night. That's
to play a full like set at Red Rocks. Wow.
All set. It was so crazy. It was like pouring rain. I remember we had to put like tarps over our equipment after sound check so that stuff didn't get ruined. I was like, I can't hear anything, but like this is amazing. Like it was just such a cool night. Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite shows ever. Maybe the Bell Center in Montreal. It's an arena that was opening for James Blunt. That was also like, that was our first night of tour, and it was like our first big tour. And I was just like looking out at the arena, and I was like, where am I? Like, how did I get here? It was just such a cool, like just a crazy moment. Because sometimes I think we forget to like, I think we'll be in these amazing moments and we're like so stressed out about the performance or like whatever's going on around it, and you forget sometimes to take it in and be like, this is what I've dreamed of my whole life. So I try to make it a point to do that. Oh, and also Ultra last year. That was sick.
And maybe somewhere else after Ultra, or it was before after? You got to go.
Completely blacked out. Right. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I went to the Grammys. That's right. That's pretty cool. It's whatever. It was okay.
You're like so cool that there were other things that
I know. I was thinking about it more in terms of like traveling, although I did have to travel. Like, I don't know, thinking about it in terms of shows.
The
but
other ones were more of like a performance opportunity.
Yeah, right? Yeah, no, you're so right. That was obviously such an incredible and surreal moment to be there with Afrojack. I got to finally meet his team. I finally got to meet David Guetta. Like, just, it was such an incredible, how do you even like talk about it?
I loved your dress. I remember seeing that. That was so cool.
Yeah, love that dress too. So good.
What is the biggest risk you've ever taken?
Biggest risk I've ever taken. Oh my gosh. I'm not like a big, am I a risk-taking person? Maybe just like moving to New York for school, like knowing how much debt I was about to get myself in, right? And like not really having any friends like in the city, but being like, this is my dream and like, this is what I have to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. To your recollection, how did we meet?
Didn't we talk on Instagram stories?
Probably. I'm like, wait, I don't know if there was like a moment, because we've never met in person.
No, we haven't. I knew, actually, you know what? I think maybe you popped up on my TikTok.
I didn't know that I popped up on anybody's TikTok.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm like, I think you commented on something, and then I started following you, and then maybe we connected like later on Instagram, and we ended up doing the session. I think it was TikTok. Just bring people together, you know.
And With You was the first song that we wrote together. Same with Sarah. One More Day is the first song I wrote with Sarah. Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, maybe it was around the time, because I had been writing with Sarah, and I knew that you were with Sarah at Ultra, right? Or like you like saw each other.
Yeah, we met at Ultra through our friend Lena Leon, and we kind of hung out because we were both performing, and it was just such a crazy day. Like, so we were kind of like buddies. I went, she was singing, I like found the stage, and I was like right up front, like filming her like a mom. Like, I was so proud. We had just met, but I'm like crying. Like, you're so beautiful. It was awesome.
I love that.
So talented though. That's awesome.
What is your favorite lyric in With You?
I mean, I feel like, it's all gorgeous, but I just love, like, I don't know where you go when you're lost, but I'm with you. I just think that's so relatable, because like, how many times have we all felt like, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know who I am, like, I don't know how to process what's going on around me, like, I feel so low, I feel so in my head. Like, I think it can mean so many things to so many different people, but it's also a good reminder that, like, to lean on the people that are in our lives that we love, and it's, yeah, a reminder to be like thankful for them too, because sometimes we take people for granted. Yeah, I think it has so many meanings.
Yeah, I'm gonna just talk, and if I want to edit this later I can.
Yeah.
But I think when we came together on Zoom, we're here on Zoom now, to write With You, I had just had a conversation with a friend of mine who'd been going through a very dark time and just wasn't sure where they belonged or where their place was in the world anymore. And I had been told a story about how this person had decided to drive away, and they made the decision to turn around. And I specifically had this visual in my head, and I think you did too, where if someone were to be driving and feeling lost and alone, and a song like this came on the radio, that maybe they would hear it and they would want to turn around and know that there's so many people that care about them and love them and are there for them. So that was kind of the general feeling of being like, hey, you know, we've all felt this. It's okay to feel this, and you're gonna get through it. I know that you have your own experiences with this kind of thing. Like, what does this song mean to you?
Yeah, I like everything you said, and I told you it's really interesting and that we wrote this song because years ago I experienced a similar situation with someone really close to me. I wrote a song about that as well for that person. It was a solo release, but it was about sort of like the same idea, I guess, like holding on and sort of looking for light in the cracks a little bit, even when it feels like there isn't any. And so songs like this are just, they're so meaningful to write and to be a part of. I felt like we connected so much too, because I think like sometimes in sessions, especially when you're just meeting someone for the first time, like it can be, not everybody vibes, like everybody, yeah, it's just, I think you just connect differently with different people. So I thought it was really cool that we could be like so honest and talk about this. But yeah, I just think it's like, I really love this song too, because we're saying like, we're not like, oh, go outside and like look at the sun and like everything will be okay. It's like you said, no, it's okay that you feel like this. Like so many people do, so many people struggle with mental health, and it can get really fucking dark, but the only thing to remember is like there are people who love you, and that's, I love that takeaway, that angle.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, you're so
I'm like, wait, I can't just jump into like some random question here right now.
Yeah, it's kind of heavy, right?
What are you most proud of, and what are you most excited about this year? Your project or anything?
I mean, we're gonna go back to it now. I'm definitely proud that a song that I'm the vocalist on was Grammy nominated, and that I got to go last year. Like I never thought that would be, it was just never something that was on my radar, like, and it was such a surprise, and just, it was just so incredible to be a part of that. And it's something that like I always have. So I'm super proud of that. And then, sorry, what was the second half of the question?
What are you most excited about this year?
Okay, I have a lot of songs coming out with a lot of artists that I've wanted to work with, doing a lot more like in the more emotional space. Like got my first few melodic bass cuts, which I'm really excited about. I know that's your bread and butter. Yeah, I'm really excited for some of these songs to come out though. Like it's just so cool, like seeing them get this whole new life, like because they just start out so simple and then they take them and they like make them into songs, and that's super cool. So very excited about that. And I think I'm going to Miami this month for Music Week. So that's gonna be really fun.
Oh my gosh. I'll need to go next year. I always plan like last minute, and
I know, it's really, especially flying from LA, like it's a whole thing. I think I'm like a little closer, but yeah, it's expensive, but it's fun.
Is there anything that's coming out soon that you want to plug or talk about?
Yeah, so I've got a song coming out with Bear Grylls on his EP, and I'm super excited for that one. Really pretty song, really emotional. So
I can't wait to hear it. Are you working on some solo stuff too?
Always the question, right? Do you ever like write songs with the intention of pitching them, and then you're like, oh God, I really like this, I don't know if I can give it away?
Yeah. Of course.
Right? So I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. I'm taking a little break from pursuing like solo, like, well, I guess I'm taking a little break from writing specifically for myself, but I have one song that I wrote, I think 2 years ago now, that I've held on to for myself because I just love it so much. And I'm hoping to maybe put together a solo EP at some point, but there's definitely a few top lines floating around that I'm like, can I give this away? This might be my song, but we're feeling it out. We'll see what happens.
That's how a lot of my EP came together. Well, there's only a couple. I don't think I ever sent With You out at all. I don't think so. Yeah. But Superhuman was shot.
Yes. I love that song, dude.
No, I always kind of like, we had different versions, nothing really played out. And I was like, I really hope nobody wants it.
Yeah, seriously, you're like, please don't. Please take it out of the pitchfork.
I said no to a couple people. I'm glad where it landed.
It's gorgeous. One of my favorites. It's on my Vibe and Cry playlist.
Vibe and Cry.
Vibe and Cry. So
amazing. Well, yeah, this was great. Thank you so much for doing this.
so cute. You're a good interviewer.